Hello, I'm going to explain to you practical exercise 2. The idea of practical exercise 2 is to let the user, who is a jogger, to enter his or her times of that week's run, 3 times a week, as minutes and seconds. And then the average for the week will be calculated as minutes and seconds. The purpose of this exercise is to give you more chance or more opportunity to work with the different kinds of variables, doing data type conversions, programming arithmetic calculations, and building a string output line and displaying it in a message box. Okay, we're going to analyze the problem and determine what will happen in terms of input, process, and output. So the input will be those 3 times in minutes and seconds given by the user entered into text boxes. We want to work out an average, so we'll have to convert it to numbers. The process is to find the average. Now, we need first to convert the minutes and seconds to seconds. So we multiply the minutes by 60 and add to the seconds. Then we have to find the average of the seconds divided by 3. That will be a decimal value, and so we need a double variable to store it in. The average is in seconds, and then we have to display it in minutes and seconds, so we have to do a calculation to get that, and I will explain it when we get there. The output will be a message box, which will be used to display the average time again in minutes and seconds. Now remember that the message box can only display string variables or string values. Therefore, your output values must first be converted to string. Okay, so now we can go to Visual Studio. I've already created part of the graphical interface. I'm now going to do the group box. I'm going to add a group box, and we're going to change the text of the group box to times, minutes, seconds, and that is just to tell the user that is what the input will look like. Now we need to add 6 text boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that is to get the input from the user. I'm going to make it a bit smaller in a minute. Alright, we need 3 labels to indicate the different times. So it's 1, 2, 3. Doesn't really matter which label you put to where, since we are only going to use it for information purposes. This is number 3. That one is number 2. And that one is number 1. Okay, maybe you can move it a bit closer. Okay, now we're going to name the text boxes. So we're going to call this text minute 1. That one we're going to call text second 1. This one we're going to call text minute 2. That one we're going to call text second 2. This one we're going to call text minute 3. And this one we're going to call text second 3. Okay, so now that's the user interface. Now the whole idea is to calculate average, so we have to create a button click event handler. Click on that one, and then we have the button click event handler. The first thing we're going to do is to create integer variables where the different times will be stored. Those times where you convert now the minutes to seconds. Okay, then we're going to need a variable to store the average in. And you remember that's 3 times that you're going to add, divided by 3, so that's a double value. And the last one will be 2 integer variables which you're going to use to display the final values of the average. Okay. The next part of the program is that we're going to combine the minutes and seconds into times in seconds. So we are going to assign that to the different variables that we created. Now you remember that values entered by the user in text boxes are always of the type string. So that's why we convert it to integer before we can multiply it by 60. And then we add again convert to int text second dot text. Okay, so that you have to do for the 3 different times given by the user. So I'm just going to copy and paste. Just remember to change the numbers as well. Okay, that should work. Alright. Now the next thing we're going to do is to work out the average. The average is you assign the sum divided by 3 to average. Okay, so I think I would like to explain something now. In C#, if you divide an integer by an integer, now time 1, time 2, and time 3 are all integers. So if you add them, they're again an integer. Divided by 3, which is an integer, then the value that you get will be an integer. In other words, even if it's a decimal value, let's say you divide 7 by 3, it will be 2 comma something. Then it will just round it to the nearest one. Okay, so this average, although we store it in a double variable, will be an integer. And that is important to understand because we're going to use that fact to work out average in terms of minutes and seconds. So now we use this variable that we created, average minutes, and we're going to convert what? We're going to take the average and we divide it by 60 and we say this will give you the minutes. To get the seconds, we take, again, we must convert it to integer. At this stage it is seen as double, that's why you have to convert it to integer. And what we do is we find average mod 60. Okay, let me quickly explain this. Let's say the average was something like 1 to 1 seconds, okay, which is obviously too small, but just for illustration purposes. So if it was 1 to 1, now how many minutes is 1 to 1 seconds? It is 1 to 1 divided by 60, which gives you 2 minutes, remainder 1. Now what does that remainder 1 means? It means it's 2 minutes, 1 second. Now that's exactly what we do in these 2 steps. The first one, average minutes, the average divided by 60 will give you the 2. Remember again, it's a double divided by an integer, so the answer will be an integer. It throws away the remainder, or it rounds it. So average divided by 60 will give you an integer. So 1 to 1 divided by 60, and now I'm talking about this division in C# will be 2. and 1 to 1 mod 60 will be 1. Do you understand that? Okay, that's the way in which we calculate the average minutes and the average seconds. The last thing that we're going to do is to display the output. Okay, we're going to display it in a message box. So we say message box dot show. So we say average time plus, remember the concatenation operator, convert to string average minutes, okay, plus, and then convert, no, so we first want to have a colon, convert to string average seconds. I think I have now too many brackets here. Let me just see. So there's still a, yeah, that bracket is not necessary there. Okay. Right, so that should do it. Let's run the program and see how it works. Okay, so I provide 3 times, let's say 30 minutes, 23 seconds, 31 minutes, 0 seconds, 33 minutes and 21 seconds. Calculate average. Average time is 32 minutes, 34 seconds. Right, that's it for this program.